was right. The boogeyman was real.
It's over.
We can't hurt anyone ever again.
No one told you.
Told me what?
Somebody in there?
Michael Myers is alive.
Stop! You had a knife in your stomach.
You and Allison should not have to keep running. Evil dies tonight.
I'm not just gonna sit and watch another innocent person die.
If you track Michael's victims, that's a straight line to Michael's childhood home. What do we do?
We fight.
Let's hunt him down.
Michael Myers is flesh and blood. But a man couldn't have survived that fire. The more he kills, the more he transcends.
Run! Go home now!
He's the essence of evil.
Do it! Do it! You want your mask? Come and get it!
I'm coming for you, Michael.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Fresh Cuts. This is Mike. Joining me, as always, it's Mr. Venom. What's up, Venom? How are you?
Greetings and salutations, Silver Shamrock fans. Yeah, I'm doing pretty good, Mike. How you doing?
Pretty good. Watched a movie over the weekend. Actually, before the weekend, one of the rare times I braved the masses on an evening viewing. So we might be talking about that movie in a bit. Also joining, as always, it's Don and Ellie. What's up, Don? How's it going?
What's going on? Haddonfield affiliates? Doing pretty good, man.
All right, and like we previously said, we thought we might get a couple extra people on this show, being that it's one of the bigger releases of the year. So I'm going to introduce a couple guests now, starting with the Wildman, WIllis Wheeler. What's up, Willis? How's it going?
Evil must die. Evil must die. Evil must die.
Evil dies on Skype.
We're not creative.
Cool. And then our next guest, this should ring a bell. It should bring back some memories. He's been away for a while, but glad to have him back. And I think this might be his first just recording overall in a while, whether it's his own shows or a guest spot. He's been around the block a few times. Welcome back to our block, Mr. Joey Colombo. What's up, Joey?
13 more days till Halloween. 13 more. Oh, yeah, boys. Welcome. Thank you. It's been a while since I've been on the horn with you boys.
Yeah, it's been.
Anyway.
It took you 2.5 years to get back to us after you left us halfway through the Us review. And you said, no, you're right back.
No, he was on the vigil. He was on the vigil.
Oh yeah, you're right.
I made it for my my Judaism, part of my family. I had to come in for the visual, remember?
That's right. All right. Well, yeah, glad to have you, Joey. Good that you're throwing your hat back in the podcasting ring. Maybe more on that later. We'll find out. But for now, yeah, no surprise. We kind of said for sure what we were doing. No reason not to do this movie. And that would be Halloween Kills, the follow-up to Halloween 2018. IMDb synopsis, pretty good and generic. The saga of Michael Myers and Laurie Strode continues in the next thrilling chapter of the Halloween series. Okay, there you go.
How's a better synopsis than the movie deserves?
Yeah, how thrilling is it? We'll find out from our esteemed cast, starting with Venom. General thoughts on Halloween Kills, buddy.
All right, since we have a couple of guests this week, I'll try to be as quick as possible, but obviously we all know how that goes sometimes, so let me try. I'm going to say that overall, there was a lot about this movie that I enjoyed. I look at this movie the way I look at a lot of kaiju movies. A lot of kaiju movies people like to say that, all the kaiju action's really great. Every scene with Godzilla or whoever he's fighting is always fun, but then that it's always like the human characters that kind of bring the movie down. Well, this movie, I feel exactly like that. Every scene with Michael in it, I love. I love the kills. I love the brutality of Michael in this movie. I love his just, no rhyme or reason to what he does. So every single scene with Michael in here, I absolutely love. And there's one scene in this movie that may have become my favorite all-time Halloween scene ever. I'll leave that for the spoiler section. But yeah, I might die on that hill. There's a scene in this movie that I absolutely adore. It rivals the tracking shot at the beginning of Halloween 78. I don't care. I'll say it. Okay. This movie is very flawed, unfortunately. There's a lot of great stuff to take out of this, a lot of great horror set pieces, but it is very flawed. Every scene that Michael isn't in feels pointless to me. This movie, I think the filmmakers did themselves a disservice by announcing that this was going to be a trilogy, because the entire time you're watching this movie, there's no real stakes. It's like, yeah, characters might die here and there, but we know we're getting another movie. So it takes away a lot of the suspense of the final act of this film. You kind of know where it's going. The biggest issue with this film is going to be its script. I hate some of the dialogue in this movie. There are some cringe-worthy line readings in this film that I literally sank into my chair when some of these lines were said in the theater. So the dialogue is going to be the biggest problem. I don't mind the fan service. I know that they did a lot of fan service here. I'm reading reviews now where a lot of people are kind of poo-pooing it, but ultimately I'm okay with it. This is a small town in Illinois that had a tragedy 40 years ago. It makes sense that Tommy and Lonnie and Lindsay and Marion all come back and have like a little reunion every Halloween. Makes 100% sense to me. So all of that stuff I'm okay with. It's just the choices that these characters make upon their return to the Halloween franchise that I can't get behind. There are some ridiculous decisions in this movie. Obviously, if you've seen the trailer, there's going to be like a little bit of mob mentality in here that ends up just fizzling out and really ends up becoming nothing, meaningless, if you will. And I kind of look at this movie as a whole like that. It's meaningless. Like, what is the story of this movie? Someone tell me, what is the story? What is the character arc? There is no story. Michael continues his rampage on Halloween night. That's it. That's the perfect description for this film, because that's all that fucking happens. We're not getting any great plot points. We're not getting any more background on Michael. I did like a lot of the extra 1978 scenes that they added to the movie. That stuff worked for me. It's always great to see Nick Castle, being the Shape again. So since he's a Michael Myers in those 78 scenes, I'm very okay with those. I also like the little bit of extra backstory for Brackett and the other police officer, Hawkins, I believe. Yeah. All that stuff works for me. It's just this movie ends in such an unsatisfying way that it actually takes away a lot of my desire to even want to see Halloween Ends. Obviously, we all know I'm going to see it. I'm going to be there opening weekend, just like we all will. But my excitement for seeing the end of this trilogy has been kind of squashed because of just the meaningless hour and 45 minutes that I spent with this film. So I'm going to cut it off here and just say everything with Michael in it, I totally love. Every scene without Michael in it, pointless, meaningless, and sometimes incredibly stupid. Next.
Okay. Next up, we'll kick it over to Dawn. What are your general thoughts on Halloween Kills?
Keeping it short, 1,025% agreement with Venom. Next.
All right. Is it going to be 3 for 3? Willis, tell us what you thought about Halloween Kills.
I absolutely adored this movie from beginning to end. It gave me what I wanted. Michael fucking people up from beginning to end. That's all I can ask for. I don't give a fuck about the damn townspeople. They're just there for cannon fodder like they've been in all the other Halloween movies, Friday the 13th movies, Nightmare on Elm Street movies, Hellraiser, and all the other slashers that came before it. I'm not expecting no high art out of no damn Halloween movie. All I want to see is Michael fuck people up. That's it. That's all. That's all I needed. That's all I got to say.
Let me jump in here because Willis, I agree with you, yet I agree with Jerry on many things that he says. Like, I know this movie is a shitty movie on one retrospect, but on another retrospect, that hour and 40 minutes flew by. I was sucked in. I wasn't sitting there saying like, this is fucking stupid. You know what I mean? Like afterwards, in retrospect, it's like, all right, yeah, obviously these scenes are cheesy, some of them, but I think that's, they were trying too hard when it came to the social commentary and all this stuff. I think if they focused more on the boogeyman aspect of Michael Myers, how Laurie starts talking about him on the end, like if they could have tried to, pun intended, shape that out a little more, I think working in that frame would have been better than trying to, the first movie is about Laurie's trauma, right? The second movie is about everybody else's trauma. But now you're taking on too much. Like Venom said, these characters, Tommy Doyle, Lonnie, Marion, they're survivors in a small town. This is going to encompass their life for the last 40 years. There's no doubt about it. So when people are saying, oh, why would you go do that? That doesn't seem real. No, it does seem real. It's just the decisions they make are the stupid classic horror movie tropes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Rather than what you would most likely do in that situation. Like why is the doctor and nurse couple going back and forth to the freaking car like that? Like, dude, this guy's out there. You need to be a little more precautious. Classic stupid trope, but still fun at the same time. You know what I mean? So I think it all depends what you want to wet your palate with. If you go in there looking to find, Hereditary, obviously, no. If you want to go in there and see Halloween Kills, you're getting Halloween Kills. I mean, all of a sudden, it's like Michael became avant-garde with some of these kills, too. I mean, it was pretty cool.
Agreed.
So, yeah, overall, if you go in with high expectations, like you're going to get what the original does and means to the landscape of filmography, because we know that was a game changer, but this is not going to be a game changer. You know what I mean? It's full of fan service, it's full of gory kills, and it's full of cliches.
What's funny, though, is that I went in expecting nothing. Like, I expected to not like this movie. I famously am not the biggest fan of middle chapters when a movie is already planned to be a trilogy, when the first one comes out. So, I agree with you on all the fun aspects of this, but how do you explain to someone like me who went in expecting a turd and I still walk away not really liking it that much? I mildly like it. I do. I agree with Joey. The pacing was fine for an hour and 45 minutes. No problem. But man, we'll get into it more in the spoiler section. But yeah, man, some of the decisions here are just ridiculous. Some of these people who have survived the 40 years since the original attack, almost like they don't know who Michael Myers is. Like they think that he's just still that 6-year-old kid who killed his sister. And it's like, basically it's a lack of respect from this entire town other than Jamie Lee. Other than Laurie, she's the only one who shows Michael any respect. And man, did anybody notice that Laurie and Michael don't share one scene in this film?
Yeah,
this is a fucking Halloween movie where the two most important characters don't meet. Fuck that.
I knew that going in. I was actually that was actually inadvertently spoiled on my end, so I knew that going in. But yeah, I noticed it. It's
don't you? I don't know if I guess I could say it in general thought, because at this point it's not really spoiling anything more than what's already been said. But doesn't
you need my initial thoughts anyway? So
yeah, doesn't this story kind of devalue their importance anyway, which I think is another flaw in it, because I feel like they go back and forth so much. Is he after them? Is he really not after them? Well, he's after me. No, he's not after you. Oh, we have this connection. No, you don't have this connection. To where I'm like, they sound more confused as the characters than I am in the audience going, make up your fucking mind.
Well,
is he connected and after you, or is he not? Because just make up your mind and pick a narrative.
Well, the thing with that is that doesn't that even devalue what happens in the 81 2, where it's revealed that they're related?
They canceled all
that's
that
the reason
already.
81 doesn't exist in this timeline. So.
But I'm saying is that doesn't all of this stuff devalue, wipe that off, because that was what made them work to begin with. That was ish. The only reason why I even really like him is because Michael is Laurie's brother.
Oh, see, I've always hated that angle.
No, okay.
Even in 81.
That's the only reason why that me.
Yeah, go ahead,
Forgetting about all that, because from my understanding, this is only operating as if the very first Halloween happened.
I get that, but I'm just saying, in the Halloween fandom, Michael and Laurie being brother and sister is the only way they work together.
Yeah, well, but this is supposed to be canceling all that fandom anyway.
It might ignore the fact that they're revealed. I'm talking about in the general Halloween fandom of these as series of films, including all 8 or 9 chapters that we've had. Michael and Laurie work because they're brother and sister. They don't work if it's just her as some random girl that he stumbled across out in the middle of the street, and he's all of a sudden got this complex towards attacking her.
Well, I agree that his relentless, never-ending pursuit over the course of sequels, yes, it kind of would seem odd that it was just random. So if you follow the timeline of like the original Halloween 1, 2, and beyond, yes, it seems like you would need some type of connection beyond she was randomly selected. But I just meant like in context of going from the original Halloween to 2018 to this, it seems like even this alternate timeline seems confused about how they want to approach that, because going into 2018 they even did the thing where like, no, they're not brother and sister, that was just a joke or whatever. But then in this one it's like almost like Laurie, the character, thinks so. But anyways, before I get into all that, because I kind of skipped over my actual general thoughts, I will say the kills were fun. Do I necessarily think they're Michael Myers Halloween style kills? No, but that doesn't mean they weren't fun to watch. I guess, there's a ton of stuff I'll get into in spoilers, but without repeating a lot that's been said, every single sequence that was shot in the 78 style, kind of expanding on the night in 78, to me proves that these filmmakers understand why the original Halloween is what it is. The problem is that all goes away when they do anything in the modern time. Halloween's never been about, well, I guess the original, because they made a point to say, this is based on only the original happening. So to me, okay, well, what did we get out of the original? It's not particularly brutal or bloody. It's suspense, it's atmosphere, that kind of stuff. But the way they design their films, 2018, this one, it doesn't seem like about. It seems like more like Jason Voorhees walking around just brutally murdering people. Now, I understand why that's entertaining to see on the screen, and I understand why a certain segment of horror fans don't care. They don't see that as a detraction. And I wouldn't normally in just your standard everyday slasher movie, or if they were doing another Friday the 13th. But to me, when you're sacrificing suspense and actual terror for just brutal killing in a Halloween film, well, to me, that's a problem, especially if you are specifically saying this is based off the first one. Well, then Michael should act like that. Not to mention he's now fucking, 70 years old, according to his timeline. So there's that. But yeah, I guess my main problem is, even though this is a middle film, it feels like there's very little of consequence that happens in this movie. Our characters are in the same spot by the end of it that they were at the beginning. Yes, there's deaths that we'll get into, but it really doesn't change anything. Like, other than the fact that Michael didn't die, which is not a spoiler because we know there's a third one coming up. There's nothing really that happens in this movie that would force a Halloween. What is it? Halloween Ends? Kill? What the hell's the last one?
Ends.
This one, the way it's written, it almost feels like this was supposed to be the end, and then they decided, okay, well, it can't be the end because they're doing a third one. I even read that originally it was supposed to be 2 movies until the success, and then they're like, well, it needs to be a trilogy because the ending of this almost feels like that's how you would end it. I have a huge problem with how the last 10 minutes kind of played out. As far as some of the decision making. Usually in movies, that kind of stuff gets a pass because a lot of those decisions are being made in the moment. However, a handful of the characters in this movie that are making these dumb decisions, well, we just went through a scene of them acting like they've been thinking about it for years. You know, they said, this is the 40th anniversary. It seems like it's been on their mind and they've had some type of like planning and coordinating, yet as soon as they actually go to put stuff in action, they're making all the same dumb decisions like the teenagers would. Speaking of the teenagers, what the heck? Like, I guess I can't even say too much about it because it'll spoil. I don't even know why they were part of all that hunting down. Like, it's just ridiculous.
It's their parents, you know, Lonnie's kid.
But if I'm Lonnie, I'm telling my son to get the fuck out of. Like, there's no way I'm taking my son with me on this. Now, I guess Laurie's granddaughter, she kind of snuck, but still, if I'm Lonnie, I'm like, no, I'm not taking the teenage. They look like they have never Well, I guess Laurie's granddaughter handled the shotgun pretty well, but Lonnie's son, dude, looks like he's never freaking seen a gun in his life, walking around shaking like. Okay, but anyways, now I'm getting too much into spoilers. Basically, yeah, fun kills. Michael himself was fine, just a little un-Michael-ish to me, but if there's anything I'll give a pass on, it's that, because at least it was, I guess, entertaining seeing him do his work. There were a couple scenes I thought when he was chasing the adult Lindsay through like the playground part, I thought that felt like classic Halloween, where he was just, you know, not a ton going on, just kind of that slow pursuit. What else can I say? I just, man, the story in this one is just really screwed up.
Story?
Yeah, exactly. The messaging they were going for, we'll get into that. I am never against messaging in the movie, but I think this one is a little all over the place in what they're trying to say. And then as soon as we get the big, kind of like, I guess the big remorsefulness or the acknowledgement of how they screwed up, that's just pissed away, because then 2 scenes later they're back. I don't know what they're trying to say in that. What's the point of the black sheriff dude in this franchise so far? He just kind of shows up every once in a while to say, I'm the one in charge. Like, I've heard him say that. In charge of what? Like, you show up once in a while to say a line, and I don't know if anyone respects your authority. Cause
nobody doesn't.
Yeah, I don't know what his character is supposed to be. Or, like, I know what his character's title is, but I don't know what he's supposed to be accomplishing in any of these movies so far.
So do you think that means he's gonna?
To be honest,
do you think that means he's gonna come back next movie or have a big role?
He's alive, isn't he? Of course he's gonna be back.
Well, to be honest, I mean, following Mike thing, I forgot he was the sheriff from part 1. I completely forgot that was him.
Yeah, it's such a quick scene in the first one. You barely see him.
Yeah, and then I guess the last thing I'll say in general thoughts is one of when I first saw Halloween, and I guess it kind of follows a franchise, although you can make arguments that they play with it a little too much as it goes on. But what was kind of cool about Michael Myers in the first one is they really did a good job of towing that line of he doesn't seem quite human, but we're not going to go as far as to say supernatural. It's just one of those kind of mysteries out there. And to me, that was always one of the scariest things. It's just you don't know. There's no explanation. In this one, we get some monologue where I don't understand, like when the monologue starts, okay, where are you pulling this information from? Did you borrow a book of, like, did you borrow the Necronomicon and look through it, and there was a chapter on Michael Myers, and now you have this new info about what happens when he, like, I don't understand why that was even introduced. Maybe it's a do nothing like it's do nothing exposition and it won't actually play a part in the next movie because who knows? But I don't understand what the point of that was.
I can tell you the point of what that was. To explain why he got up at the end of the movie and killed everybody. That's the only why they put that in the movie.
I have another issue with that, but we'll get to that when we get to spoilers.
Oh, single issue?
That's why I thought
multiple. I have at least 3.
Thank God.
I thought if they framed the boogeyman concept better, you know what I mean? Like make it show that it would have impacted everybody in the town more than just a few people, you know, with their trauma and then just like hearsay, you know what I mean? Like have that affect people. Cause I mean, the concept I think is interesting, not knowing where we stand. Is he human? Is he supernatural? Is he just like an animal, like pure primal instincts? You know what I mean? Where are we with this guy? And like Mike says, now we get a monologue that, okay, if you listen to what she says and you go back and watch the movies, okay, it makes sense. But you drop it in overlaying that scene. You know what I mean? You know what I'm talking about. No spoilers. And it's just like, dude, this ultimately works so much better.
Ultimately, Laurie in that little monologue there in the hospital took, like 3 minutes to say what Dr. Loomis perfectly said in one line back in 78. He is evil, plain and simple. That's it. Yeah. We don't need a goddamn explanation. This is why I hate the Rob Zombie movies, because Rob Zombie tried to explain Michael Myers, and that's bullshit. That's not what we want. There's merit to those movies. I'm not going to say that I hate both of the Rob Zombie movies. There is some value to them, but what I'm saying is that he took, he basically flipped the nature versus nurture theology in this movie. And did we really want that? We never really wanted that. And to this day, I still don't want it. I am fine with my current understanding of Michael Myers. I'm not saying that I understand him 100%. No one does. That's the point. But I'm happy with my current understanding. I don't need an explanation. I just want to see this fucker finally get killed.
Yeah, and what I was going to say now, just to cap it off, I guess, far be it for me to defend Rob Zombie, because I'm not a fan of his Halloween movies for the most part. I mean, like you said, they're not without merit, but
sure, at
least if I'm going to defend Rob Zombie on something, it's at least going into them, he made it clear this is going to be different. I'm going to do my own thing with it. Whether his own thing worked for the audience or some of the audience, that can be debated and discussed, and that's fine. The reason why I have such a problem with that monologue in this one and how they're kind of tipping the hat in a certain direction is, hey guys, you said this is specifically based on existing lore, which is just the original according to you guys. Well, we have all we need to know about Michael Myers. I don't need to hear that, every time he kills, he transcends. What the hell are you talking about? And how do you know this? Like, you're just some random person he chose to like hunt that night. Like, I don't understand
the gathering
where this is even coming from. Yeah, it just seemed like very misplaced, and I don't understand why it was even felt that it was necessary, unless it was supposed to be like metaphorically speaking. Like,
I think that's what it is. I think that's what it is, and I think people are reading a little bit too much into it. But I can understand why maybe some people are upset about it. But then some people be like, why she ain't explain how he get back up? It's a 50-50. You know how it is. You can't please people no matter what. So
no, definitely not.
So it could also just be her trying to make sense out of everything in this more traumatic experiences. It could be that too. I mean, that's the thing with the Halloween movies, where it's going to pick up next time. They can do whatever the frick they want.
The only other thing I could think of is when she said transcends, almost like the effect on the town itself. If she meant something like that, instead of literally transcends into some supernatural like energy or power. Like that's the other alternative I came up with. Is she more? It more means like his kind of like effect on this people, putting the town in fear. Like, I mean, he transcends that way.
She drops the line, you know. She's like, "This is Michael's masterpiece," and this is the right quote. Now he's turning us into monsters.
Yeah, but see, that's the thing. It's like Michael's master. Well, I thought he was just a pure evil being that's walking around and murdering people. So he's not anymore. Like, there's an actual plan. Yeah. Are we gonna get the Cult of Thorn?
No.
I see that paralleling the devil. Like, you know how people say the devil's masterpiece? I see it. Maybe that's why she would say that. That would be the only sense I can make of her, unless he's coming out using his knife as a fucking composer's. What is it called again? You know, the conductor's stick.
The wand. I don't know. I mean, that's weird because ultimately, Satan's masterpiece. Satan doesn't usually handle doing things himself. He has his demons. He has his minions. He sends them to do his work. Satan himself, at least from what I know of the Bible, doesn't come up to earth other than the Garden of Eden to actually act out evil on his own. He has minions. So for her to say Michael's masterpiece, it seems like it's a plan. It seems like it's something that Michael planned, and that doesn't make sense. I agree with Mike. Michael Myers is not a planner. He's an actor. He sees something and he acts. That's it. He sees a knife, he has to use it. He sees a living person, he has to make them dead. It's that simple. So the whole concept of Michael actually having a plan and turning the town against each other, nah, this ain't the Twilight Zone, dude. This is Haddon.
Maybe she's just talking out her ass and don't know what the hell she's talking about.
Yeah, it could be the
crazy ass old woman.
It could be the drugs.
Think about it like that.
I mean, she could. That could be the fact. It just seemed like, why is that even in there?
Yeah, she is heavily drugged at this point in the movie. That is valid. But
she's kind of like talking like, she's like, you know, kind of like tripping balls and like, you know, Michael's masterpiece. She is a little over dramatic in that scene.
I'm hoping it's the drugs. I'm going to chalk it up to say
drugs, man.
It's the pain. I mean, because she shot herself with that syringe, like 20 minutes earlier or something. So
morphine.
Yeah, morphine, whatever it was. But yeah, I don't get into it. I'm not sure. Mike, you brought up the point about the brutality of the kills in this movie. Now, you may not remember, but you brought up that exact same gripe with Halloween 2018. And I'm going to give you the exact same answer that I gave you 3 years ago when we reviewed the last one. Michael Myers is a killer. All he wants to do is kill, and he has been incarcerated for 40 years. Imagine being a guy who gets sex every day for the first 20 years of your life, and then suddenly you have to go 40 years without. What are you going to do on your 60th birthday when you're finally allowed out in the world? You're going to indulge in the one thing that you want to have. Michael, when he went on his 78 rampage, had only been incarcerated for 15 years. Most of those years were as a child. He was only an adult for 2 of those years. He was 23 when he escaped Smith's Grove. So being locked up 40 years, especially with Michael potentially thinking, shit, I'm never going to get the opportunity to do the one thing I love. But then suddenly, because of his shitty doctor in the last film, he does get that opportunity. He's just taking advantage and making up for 40 lost years is what I'm thinking. I agree that it doesn't, on paper, it doesn't really feel like Michael Myers. But when you think about 40 years of pent up homicidal rage, the brutal kills in these last 2 films make 100% sense to me. That's just me, though.
I mean, if there is I mean, I understand that. If the only, I don't know, the problem, well, not the problem, but the only thing I would say back to that is, like, because we know so little about his actual psyche. Like, I don't know if he's like your typical serial killer that's taking glee out of it, or if it's just because, you know, the way Loomis described it is always just kind of like a blank slate. It's not like he is exhibiting these homicidal tendencies when he's locked up. And so, I mean,
Michael, don't forget, Michael's a psychopath, not a sociopath. Sociopaths get physical pleasure from doing the things they do. Psychopaths are emotionless. They just do what they do because they think they have to do it. So I would say solidly Michael is a psychopath, not a sociopath.
Well, it's hard to even say because we don't really know his motivation. I mean,
that's the point. He doesn't speak, so he's not social. So I don't know. I mean, we can't assume that he's deriving. Like when I watch the Rob Zombie movies, that Michael Myers looks like he's enjoying what he does. You know, he looks like he's being brutal because he just loves brutalizing people. Our Michael Myers, I still call him the Carpenter Michael Myers, even though Carpenter doesn't really have a lot to do with this anymore. Carpenter Miles does what he does because people got in his way or because he saw them. He walk by their house. Like in 2018, I love the scene where he just walks by the woman's house that's giving away candy, realizes that she's in her house by herself. So he's like, oh, one more for me. But then the couple getting into the car, he leaves them alone. See, he wants to kill. He wants to kill quickly, and he wants to kill efficiently. Hence why we don't really see Michael walk into crowds, you know? It's not like it's not like Jason Voorhees walking into the rave in Freddy versus Jason. I don't see Michael doing something like that. And obviously, when he was first confronted with the mob in this movie, you can see that little bit of hesitation. He knew the odds were against him. So there is some level of intelligence in there, but I don't necessarily, at least I personally, don't get the sense that he's quote unquote enjoying the kills, enjoying himself the way a sociopath would, where they get some kind of either sexual or emotional thrill from the kill. You know what I mean? Again, my opinion only. I could be very wrong.
Since we're talking about the mobs here and what Michael really is and stuff, right? I was like, let me look up the Bible and see if I could parallel some kind of like mob scenes. And I didn't really get anything specific, but it made me think of how they can kill Michael Myers. So this is Ezekiel 1640, yeah. They will incite a crowd against you, and they will stone you and cut you to pieces with their swords. Bro, how are they going to kill Michael Myers? Remember when they cut his head off in, Resurrection or whatever it was?
H2O. And it wasn't him.
It wasn't him, right? But
it was until they made the sequel.
Well, you know what I mean.
Right.
By Resurrection, it wasn't him. So blah blah blah.
Right. So how are they gonna kill Michael Myers? Like, what do you think? Like,
there is no satisfying. Honestly, in my opinion, there is no satisfying ending to all of this. Just like with the Matrix, there wasn't ever going to be an ending that was going to satisfy all the fans. They built up so much. I mean, this is a 42-year-old franchise now with literally millions, if not billions, of fans around the world. There is no way that David Gordon Green and Danny McBride are going to be able to come up with something that's going to satisfy even the majority of us, let alone most of us. I don't even think they're going to get half of us satisfied.
I know what the ending going to be. I can tell you what it's going to be now.
Educate me, sir.
Both of them going to die at the end of the movie.
Well, that's a given. That's not guessing anything.
Yeah.
We all knew one. I mean, I'm only speaking for myself, but I knew that one character that was going to die in this movie was going to die before I even had my ass in the seat. I knew one particular character was going to die, and they did. So it's not a matter of just giving us who's going to die and who's going to live. It's giving us that big finale, that confrontation. What are they going to do? I agree with you, Willis. More than likely, Michael and Laurie are going to die in the next one. But I guarantee that we're gonna sit here a year from now and we're going to be bitching about it because it's not going to be satisfying. That's all I'm saying.
See, I was fine with the end of the second movie and H2O if those would have actually been the last.
I was very happy with H2O when I first saw it. Yeah, I was like, if that's the end, perfect. Leave it alone. And then they announced the next one.
Not that H2O itself as a movie I was entirely happy with, but just the way the conclusion of it to me was fun. Like, and even Halloween 2 when he gets burned up in the hospital, because at least it was like definitive enough to say, okay, regardless if he's evil or human, well, he's ashes now, so it doesn't really matter at this point, right?
And earlier you mentioned, you were talking about Laurie not being in the movie, and I was thinking, think about Halloween 2. Most of it is Michael chasing Laurie through the hospital. So, like, in this one, what do we get? No scenes with Laurie and Michael. Like, throughout the movie, you think he's going to come to that hospital to get her, and no, we're not. That's not happening, you know? Did they strategically do that on purpose to try to be, like, you know, the opposite of the original part 2?
I think they were trying to play. Well, I guess we should just officially make us. Well, I mean, I don't think anyone's going to listen to this episode that hasn't seen it. Not to be fair, like who's going to turn this on just to hear the first 5 minutes before we get into spoilers?
I actually know a few people that do. So yeah.
Okay, well, just I'm not saying on no episodes, but I was thinking maybe this one specifically, they might be looking to see like our more extensive thoughts. But anyways, I'll just spoiler tag it now. If you've been listening up to this point, hopefully we haven't said too much, but beyond this, we definitely will say too much if you haven't seen it. So there's your warning. Go see the movie and then come back at whatever time in the show this is. So now I forgot what I was going to answer Joey on.
Halloween 2 to this parallel.
Oh, I do think they were kind of playing with that idea on purpose because – you know, the longtime fans would see, okay, we have the hospital setting, and all through the movie, like Laurie is convinced, oh, he's coming after me. So you expect by like maybe the third act, or at least like, you know, final 10, 15 minutes, there'll be some type of showdown at the hospital where that's our conclusion. Obviously in this one, as we get through it, it's pretty much them saying, no, there is no real connection between you two. It was just happenstance, and he's just out there murdering anyone who's in his way, basically, like as Venom put it, and you don't happen to be out there, so he can give a shit about you. Now, for some reason, by the end of it, she still feels like, you know, she needs to be the one to kill him. I even read like what the original ending was that they filmed. It's very similar, but there's a little change, but I'll bring that up later. But yeah, I definitely think they were kind of playing with the idea of making us think that there would be a hospital showdown.
Of course. I mean, so did Rob Zombie, technically. I mean, it seems like everybody who does a second Halloween movie teases us with the hospital. And I agree, there probably is going to be a hospital confrontation in the third film. It would make sense. It would be fan service, as we got a lot of in this film as well. So, you know, I think I'm okay with that. But I think that's a common technique, though, when you're doing sequels, for the filmmakers to kind of set up some certain expectations for the viewers, but then to subvert them completely. Well, sometimes they do anyway.
I got breaking news. It wrote at the hospital because David Gordon Green already announced that the next movie is going to be a 4-year time jump.
Yeah.
Oh, right. It's present day. Yeah, that's true. I did read that already, too. Shit.
Yeah, it's kind of making me angry because I'm like, okay.
It's not like there won't be hospitals in 4 years in Haddonfield.
Julian's going to save the day.
He's just making me disappear for 4 years, or are we going to skip ahead 4 years and then Jamie or Laurie's going to be like, man, these last 4 Halloweens we've tried to get him and he's gotten away each time. This time
he probably gonna disappear for like 4 years.
Stupid.
Yeah, hibernate and heal up.
Yep.
Or what if the next movie opens up and they're like, unfortunately, Michael has died of natural causes. So
I would imagine
there will be no.
Yeah, I would imagine the next movie is still going to open up in 2018, but then the majority of the film will be, you know, present day 2022, I guess.
I thought they said they were going to deal with pandemic stuff in it too.
Yes,
like
they
the
are.
fact
Yeah,
that,
they brought up stuff too. Yep. Ugh.
Yeah, I don't know how heavy they're.
Michael,
I don't know how heavy.
That's how he's gonna die. Michael's gonna get taken out by COVID.
COVID-19 takes out Michael Myers. I would almost be okay with that. As uneventful as it would
be. End of the movie and falls out and dies.
So
that would be insanity. Could you imagine that?
Imagine the one character wearing a mask the entire time dies of COVID.
Republicans.
Oh, Maron.
All right, let's get away from politics before I get my king.
Oh boy. Don't make me think I'm in no bed.
Oh man. I guess, I mean,
So
What
what's
do you
up with our
wanna talk about
firefighters?
skills?
Our firefighters attacking him one at a time. That was kind of silly.
That was
Like a
very
kung
stupid.
fu.
I did love that scene though. I thought that scene was really, really well done. I especially love that shot when Michael stabs the guy in the midsection and lifts him up, and you see that solid stream of blood going straight down to the ground. That was fucking cool. With the backdrop of the fire behind him. Oh, awesome. I mean, there are some really great shots in this movie, legitimately. It's a question of, is there enough good to outweigh the bad? Obviously for Willis, there's enough good to outweigh the bad. It seems like for the rest of us, it's a little questionable.
Uh-huh.
So,
Well, when we get that shot in the basement, the trap basement or whatever, so it looks like there was a hiding spot for him because
well,
he lifts up
the
that like
armory.
little garage.
Yeah, they showed us the armory in the first movie, but it didn't. I don't know if it struck any of us that, hey, that's like a whole separate room because she lifted the shutter. So yeah, I hadn't thought about that obviously until we see it in the movie, in this movie. But yeah, it makes sense. I'm not gonna bitch and roll my eyes at it because ultimately Laurie made a mistake. She gave him an out. He took advantage of it, and now we have another movie. So
Yeah, I guess the firefighters got there in time because it seemed like that place would have burned by the time they got there. But hey, I mean, that's not even that big of a deal, I don't think.
no, I do wish that scene was longer. I just feel like, I mean, he killed 11 people in like 30 seconds. I would have liked to have seen like maybe a front and a back, like maybe have like a half dozen firefighters in the front of the house and he takes them out, and then he hears more firefighters on the other side of the house and then he goes and takes those guys out. I just really, really liked that scene. It was just really striking the way it was done. I would have liked, like, it could have been twice as long and I would have been happy with it.
Yeah, that and the fight scene against the townspeople were, they really done well. The choreography, the camera angles, how sometimes it sped up and slowed down the speed. It was beautifully done.
Yeah, the
But,
second half of the mob scene I loved. When Michael actually got back up and started taking them out, I adored that. Just like you said, man, the beautiful score, the slow motion, beautiful, non-CG blood spray, actual practical blood spray, which is always awesome to see. That scene was gorgeous. It really was nice.
I mean, all those kills, like when he put the kid on the spike and then the mother went to see him, just like the way he looked laying there on the table. Little moments like that just like hit you right in the gut.
I felt so bad for Oscar's mother. That for a scene that's literally 3 seconds long, that actually hit me. I don't know why, but just I can't imagine the absolute shock and horror of finding, because she didn't even know her boy was dead yet. She was just going to the hospital to find out. And then she walks by the morgue and sees her son on the slab with the toe tag on. Holy shit, that's fucking heartbreaking.
And the jaw, the way his jaw looked. Oh, Maron.
Yeah,
it just was appalling. Yeah.
Did she start chanting "Evil Dies Tonight" right after?
Holy shit. If I have to hear that again, I swear I'm gonna pull my ears off.
Even the last moment of that scene was so, like, the lead up to it sucked, like the whole Evil Dies Tonight. But when he gets caught in between the two doors, and again it stops, the pace slows down, the score comes over, he goes to the ledge, and then he falls, and you just see the gore everywhere. It just hits you like, oh shit, like the innocence of him, being a patient, like you'd think he's just another wackadoo like Michael Myers on the bus escaping, especially when I watched 2018 back to back, and with the opening scene when they're all going, wild, you think they're just fucking loons, but then you realize, no, this is just another person with problems in life, and that's unfortunately the cause.
You mean
an innocent person.
You mean the guy that no one would mistake for Michael Myers? Come on.
Yeah.
No one thinks that. No one thinks the Penguin is Michael Myers.
Yeah, thank you. Did everybody forget that Michael Myers is like 6'6"? He's a fucking giant. And yet they think this butterball is Michael? Are you fucking... And I understand that most, if not all of those people have never seen Michael Myers. But you would think if they live in that town that at some point they would have gotten a description, or they would have looked it up themselves and seen, oh shit, he's 6'6", 300 plus pounds. Okay, the information for later. But no,
and his
let's
face
go after.
Was flashed on the news, wasn't it? in the bar.
Yeah, he even put both. Tavali was the name of that inmate, played by Ross Bacon, which, by the way, I don't know if anybody knows, that actor actually passed away a couple of months ago. He had a long struggle with cancer and unfortunately was not able to see this finished movie. But yeah, rest in peace, Ross Bacon, who plays Tivoli. But yeah, Mike, they put both their faces on television. And the first one is this big chubby guy with long hair. And then the next one, which they obviously conveniently took out of focus as soon as the second inmate is shown, you see him with very short hair, a long head, much longer than Tivoli's. It just, it bothers me so. But I understand, too, the whole commentary there. The mob mentality. Once one person believes it's Michael, everybody's going to believe it's Michael. So I totally am fine with that. But yeah, that was a very sad scene as well, to watch Tivoli take his own life.
Yeah, the town bloodlust for revenge blinded them. And basically, he had to kill himself, because if he didn't kill himself, they damn sure was going to do it for him.
Yeah, it would have been a lot more painful if they did it. So yeah, fuck yeah, go Tivoli.
Yeah, I mean, I understand the messaging behind it, and the whole mob justice vigilantism is bad. The problem is, because like Judy Greer's a big catalyst about, what are we doing? Why are we doing this? There's a system for this. We can't. But then 2 scenes later, there she is helping the mob try to take out. So it just seems like whatever message they're trying to convey with that scene, it gets kind of convoluted. Or it's like, what are they trying to say? Oh, but if you think you got the right guy, then it's okay. Like,
and even after go ahead.
I was just gonna say, because at the end of that mob justice scene, you got the black sheriff dude, which I should probably look up his name so I can stop calling him black sheriff dude.
Parker.
But Sheriff Parker with a P.
Clive Barker.
Oh, Barker. Okay. They even show him like sitting on it's very quick, but they kind of show him sitting on the hospital steps, like dejected, like, damn, we didn't do enough to like quell this shit down, and we let it get out of hand. So it's almost like, okay, there's our learning moment, but then 2 scenes later, it's like, hey, here's the mob, and somehow they all made it to the neighborhood, which I think that's inconsistent too, because it's like you have angry mob, then you have, okay, but we're going to break off from the angry mob and go try to handle this one-on-one ourselves, stupid. But then the mob reconvenes, I guess, in the neighborhood, ready to take it. So
that couldn't have been the whole mob. The mob at the hospital was way bigger than the one that beat up Michael. Way bigger. Yeah. I mean, the mob that beat up Michael was only about 12 to 18 people, whereas there was easily 50 to 100 at the hospital. Yeah, the mob at the hospital is way bigger.
The whole mob, because then there was all the people outside too, where I'm not sure where they came from, but I guess they were just the overflow that couldn't fit in the lobby, in the waiting room.
I mean, I get what they're trying to do, like just to show how, I mean, look how quick misinformation spreads, right? I mean, it's paralleling all that, but like, this is not the movie for that. You know what I mean? Save that for some fucking high bougie art fucking fugazi shit that I'll watch one day. Not Halloween. Like, think about it.
Well, and it feels like they just spend a lot. Like that's part of the issue with this being a middle movie. It feels like it just contributes to the story and everything being stuck in neutral, because we're spending so much time on this kind of side plot, because that's not the first time he shows up. He was the one in that car, right? When they thought it was Michael Myers.
Yeah, that was
so he's getting like enough screen time here that's like, why is this kind of like, I feel like they could have got the whole vigilante thing across without that character at all. It could have just been like, hey, look, we're gonna go take out Michael, and then 10 of us get murdered because we're just idiots that don't know what the hell we're doing, but we're caught up in a frenzy of blind rage. You could have done it just simply by that.
Well, there's one thing. Isn't he the guy that do you see outside the bar, the one that steals the couple's car? That's him, right? It's the bully.
Yeah,
Okay, yeah, that was the one thing that, this whole mob thing it makes absolutely no sense. Not only because, like we've been saying, this guy is not Michael Myers in any way, shape, or form, but like what Joey is saying, is this really necessary in a Halloween film where we want Michael Myers killing people? Why is this side story even in here?
Yeah. I mean, like I said, the only guess I have is to get that commentary in there. Like Joey said, the whole misinformation thing, it's a very poignant topic right now. So, I can see why they did it. I don't really have that much of a problem with it. For me, it's just, I'm back to the mob. This mob, it really, really fucking bothers me. This is a mob of people that are from Haddonfield who know the legend of Michael Myers, yet they still stop hitting him. What the fuck? And then, like, these people know that Michael Myers has been shot dozens of times by now. He's been stabbed dozens of times by now. He lost an eye. One of his eyes is like scratched out. It's all glazed over. They know he's not fucking human. Michael Myers is not fucking human. He's a machine. He is an animal. When they stopped beating up on him, I wanted to stand up in the theater and just scream, "What the fuck? Why would you stop smashing his fucking brains in?" It doesn't
Human
make
nature.
sense. Oh, fuck human nature. Fuck human nature.
Nature. They
Fuck
thought
human nature. I don't give a fuck. You just watched that guy kill multiple people in your fucking hometown, people that you love, people that you care about, and you're gonna fucking tell me that human nature? Let me tell you something. If Michael Myers killed anybody that I even remotely care about, I would cut his fucking head off with a shovel and stand there for 2 hours to make sure that fucker didn't get up. So yeah, human nature, my fucking ass.
He did get shot like 6 or 7 times in the chest, point blank.
Yeah, in the chest, not in the fucking brain.
Bro, he never got shot in the head.
I could see like some of the mob backing off, but the ones that were literally personally affected with like relatives or kids, or I don't think those fools are stopping it. Like, I'm like, why didn't you guys just remove his head? Like, literally, because to me, that whole scene is a victim of being middle movie-itis. They had to come up with a way for him not to be murdered. When I was thinking about it after the movie ended, I was kind of walking back to my car. I was like, okay, here's how I probably would have handled it. And this isn't perfect either, but I was just off the top of my head, like immediately. You can do the mob beatdown because we just got the scene in the hospital. So, but the way you kind of wrap up that arc is in the middle of this beatdown, the actual law enforcement shows up, and because they do shit by the book, then you could, I guess, justify them stopping the mob.
I would, yeah.
Michael's shot, he's stabbed. Here comes the ambulance. Load him into the ambulance because this is how like the actual law works if they're following the rules. The ambulance takes him away. Roll credits. Then we have justification for why the beatdown stopped, and you have justification for going into the third movie. And you can still do the time jump because if he was in the back of a ambulance and of course he wakes up or gets up, kills the ambulance driver, then he's off to who know the fuck where. So to me, there's a better way, and there's a better way to wrap that up.
Well, here's the other thing. You've also even got the built-in alibi for the time jump. He's in a coma from the beatdown. He's in the hospital for 4 years.
Ooh, see, I can accept that too. Yep.
There's your out right there.
Every time he kills in that house, he comes out and gets arrested, right?
Yeah.
No, Joey, he transcends.
Now, Mike, if you would have did that,
he goes into a chrysalis.
If they would have did that ending, a lot of people would say, didn't they do that in one of the other movies already? Why did they do that again?
Well, they did a lot of. There's a lot of cases of did they already do that already in these ones?
Yeah, that's true too.
That's what slashers are.
Slashers are
why?
Well, the majority of this film is already taken from the other sequels anyway. The hospital stuff is 2, the 3 mask is from part 3, and the mob beatdown is from 4.
Yep.
So it's not like this is already
Supernatural 5 and 6.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah. I was a little surprised in the 78 flashback that when he came out, he just surrendered. I thought maybe he would attempt to do something, and the cops would like break out their nightsticks or something and beat him down.
They hit him once with a fucking nightstick, and he goes down. Michael fucking Myers. They hit him once in the head with a nightstick, and he goes down. Fuck.
Okay, but here you go. Remember, this is 78. He's only 20 at the time.
23.
23. Okay, he's still 23. He's still not completely at full strength yet.
Ooh,
He's 3 years removed from sex. Remember, he had sex the
Well, now
first
he's
20 years of
fucking
his
70,
life.
so didn't he pass up full strength and now he's like on the decline? Elder.
Yeah, he's like what, 66 or 67 now, something like that. I think he's not quite 70. You said 70 earlier, Mike. Not quite 70, but getting there. Okay, back to the mob. Back to the mob scene. The mob is beating the shit out of Michael Myers. They've got him dead to rights. He's on the ground, flat on his stomach. They could literally do anything they want to him. The mob stops fighting, tells Karen, okay, Karen, go back to the hospital, be with your family. We've got this. What does Karen do? She bends over. She picks up Michael Myers' knife. She's about to stab him in what should be a big triumphant stab. Where the fuck does she stab him? In the goddamn shoulder. Are you fucking kidding me?
I thought she stabbed him in his back.
Huh?
No, shoulder. It's the shoulder.
The first time I saw it, when I saw it in the theater, I thought it was the back of the neck, but when I rewatched it, no, it's in the shoulder.
It's
That's dumb. I didn't even notice that.
Oh,
yeah. No,
she
clearly in the shoulder.
She doesn't keep the knife. She stabs him in the shoulder, leaves the fucking knife there, and then walks away to go back to where her daughter is. And it's like, and then at that moment, it's like, okay, when are you getting up? Just get up. I don't want to wait. Luckily, I didn't have to wait long. He got up almost immediately. So, but yeah, that was just the most derivative, expected scene ever. I was so upset with that. How do you have one of the greatest serial killers in your state's history dead to rights and you fucking let him get up? I'm sorry. I can't. I just, it's so hard to buy into this shit. It really is. And I've already said multiple times, I'm a very vindictive and petty person. So I can't wrap my head around how people don't finish the fucking job. You know, Karen, literally, Michael Myers killed your fucking husband in front of your own fucking house. And you're going to fucking stab him in the shoulder? No, right. Fuck that. I'm sorry, but yeah. Oh,
the
God,
barrel would have been in his mouth and his brains would have been everywhere.
Oh my, I would have kept his eyes. I would have plucked out his eyes and kept them in my house.
I would have wore his skin through 3 states.
Oh God, I can't. Yeah, I'm sorry, Karen, but you're an absolute fucking waste. And you know what? I fucking laughed when you died.
And that's the reason why she died, because she didn't finish the job.
Because she's an idiot, and that's the other thing too. Why are the filmmakers giving us the final death to be Karen? Do they actually think we care about Karen? Do they think that she's like a great character that all the Halloween fans gravitate towards and cheer for? Really?
No,
she like barely existed.
I think they viewed her as a sacrificial lamb to begin with.
Yeah,
she absolutely is. But is that really the final kill of the movie? I mean, I'd have rather seen him take out Hawkins or Brackett or just somebody that matters.
Brackett
than Karen. Who gives a fuck about Karen? I mean, after 2018 came out, all the fans talked about how much they hated that character. Yet David Gordon Green takes that information and decides to make that the climactic death of the second film.
Is it supposed to be her emotional arc?
Oh, and I also don't really believe that
hating her, yes. In 2018, hating her, yes. But you know, she tries to, I guess, you know, do a 180 when she ends up in end of 2018. You know, they pull that whole like fake. You know,
no, I understand that. It's like I'm supposed to get behind her because, you know, she pulled the switcheroo in the first movie. I mean, you got to realize most of the time that we've spent with her has been absolutely insipid, like not enjoyable. I've not enjoyed one thing that, and I like Judy Greer. Don't get me wrong. I like her a lot. She's one of my favorite characters on Archer. She was in Good Boy a couple of years ago that I really liked a lot. She's done stuff I like, but in this movie, it's the character of Karen, and it's so funny that they name her that too, even though she doesn't really come off as a Karen.
No, she does. No, she does when she's yelling at the.
In the first movie, yes. I mean, when she's yelling at Laurie in the restaurant for downing that glass of wine, a little bit of a Karen-like attitude there, but. I'm sorry. Like I said, I'm just questioning how she's the final kill of this movie. Like, I give a shit. Like I literally,
if she actually was killed.
That's what. Yeah, that's another thing too, because I'm not 100% convinced she's dead. He only stabbed her a few times, and I know they showed her on the ground with her eyes open and everything, but I don't know, something about that.
They do that with Hawkins too, so if they want to bring her back, they will.
Hell yeah, Hawkins took one to the neck in 2018, and he's still around. So,
well, I think it's like supposed to make Allison a more prominent character in the next one.
Oh yeah,
how he killed both her parents. And is going to probably kill her grandmother. And she's going to be the one to kill Michael Myers.
This is what I mean. Why is David Gordon Green forcing Allison on us? It seems like most of the Halloween fans have been fairly vocal that we haven't been big fans of this mother-daughter combo in this film. We're all about Laurie. I mean, I assume that they brought in the Allison character for the younger fans, the newer Halloween fans, so that they have a character to kind of relate with, if you will. But they're so hollow to me, both of them, Allison and Karen. To me, just
there's no connection. There's no connection with the audience and either Ginger or the granddaughter.
Thank you. Yep.
I was
when you base the entire resurrection of the franchise about look, Laurie Strode's back, then of course that's what people want to see, that showdown. No one cares about the granddaughter.
We don't care about the characters, but that's going to just be the motivation to get Laurie even more vicious when it comes to the final showdown between her and Michael.
So did Laurie need more motivation?
Hell, you done killed her only child, so yeah, that's more motivation. So yeah,
I guess.
Dude, what's gonna happen if Halloween ends? They're gonna be like, oh wait, you actually are brother and sister.
Don't do that. Don't do that.
Oh God, please! I will walk out. I'm saying it right now. October 18th, 2021. If they even say the word sister in Halloween Ends, I walk out of the theater that second. And I won't even do the fucking Fresh Cuts episode. I don't care. I'm saying it right now. David Gordon Green, I'm sitting here. Wait, hold on a sec. Okay. I'm on my fucking knees begging you, don't bring back the sister bullshit.
I don't think they are.
Please, for God's sakes, don't. If there is a God, a Satan, a Cthulhu, whatever, please don't let this happen.
They already joked about that in the first movie, so I don't think it's going to happen.
I hope so, yeah.
And I don't think Karen's coming back. In order to make it relevant, bringing Hawkins back is one thing, but to bring Karen back, who is part of this lineage now of the family dynamic, for her to be removed is important for us to be invested. If they bring her back at the beginning of that fucking movie, I'm not even going to watch it. I'm just going to shut the motherfucker off.
I could probably see them giving her a death scene in the hospital. Maybe they take her to the hospital and then she dies there in Laurie's arms or something. Hopefully no more than 5 or 10 minutes of the next movie.
Yeah.
But but if the movie opens in present day, then I would imagine we won't see Karen, blah, blah, blah. We'll probably see Brackett still. Not Brackett, excuse me, Hawkins. Brackett. God, yeah. Can you guys believe fucking Brackett is still working? That guy's got to be like 80.
Believe it.
What was he, security at the hospital, right?
Yeah, he was hospital security. It's like, my God. So did he take a demotion or did he take his pension from the police station and then say, fuck it, I'm going to work anyway?
That's what I think. He's probably retired from the police union and was like, I'm bored. I'm going to just do this. Kind of like the people that take up the Walmart greeter jobs.
Exactly. It's not like he has a wife and daughter or anything anymore. They're all gone. It's just him. So yeah, I guess it makes sense that he would want to.
And of course, they had to have him say his line, which was ridiculous.
Yeah, that was a little ridiculous.
A little bit, yeah.
That was very 90s slasher.
That was too much fan service. Yeah, that was where they kind of crossed the line a little bit. A little too much there, yeah.
Maybe if he did it earlier in the movie before the chaos started somehow, you know what I mean? And he squeezed it in. But at that moment, at the fucking end of the movie.
If he had done it to another kid, I would have accepted it. But he did it to Michael during the mob scene. No. Oh, man.
Let's talk about how they brought Loomis back. And that was
awesome.
That was not CGI. That was all makeup.
No, it wasn't makeup.
That was good.
Yep, it was all
it's
makeup.
No, it was an actor, but you could see the scene, the pictures and stuff. It's an actor, but they heavily makeup him, but not special effects or CGI. It was all makeup on the actor. Yeah.
But it's very little. I mean, if you look at Tom Jones, he looks like Sam. He looks like Tom Pleasance. And then they
did a great job of how they shot it. Yeah.
Oh, and I like the choice of using the voice actor who did Loomis in 2018 too. Yeah. So it's like you've got one actor who looks like Loomis, one actor that sounds like Loomis. You put them together, and we have Loomis. And you know what? Even though it wasn't perfect, I thought it was fucking great. I loved it.
Did Michael kill again? It's like that's all he does. Of course, he killed again.
I wish we got a little bit more of Sartrain's, history.
Sartain's. Okay.
Sartrain, yeah, Sartrain. Yeah. Like his motive is fucking paper thin from 2018. Like
that's true. I would have liked to have maybe somebody like find some of his studies, paperwork, audio tape.
Right.
Yeah, that would have.
Do you think they're maybe saving that for
very
3,
zany?
Do you think do you think they're saving that for 3?
Could. Maybe he fucking kills.
Well, I mean, you figure that this is the night after he stalks Laurie, so you figure nobody's really going to be there looking into the accident because it just happened several hours earlier. So you figure now in the intervening years maybe they've discovered it and looked into the incident more.
Yeah, it'd be nice.
You figure this is all the time jump.
It'd be nice if they did give some more background information on like why and what his motivation and maybe the prep, because it does come off a little zany for that to be like just throw it out there like, oh, here's the doctor that took over, and oh, by the way, he really wants to watch Michael kill. Like, really? Like, huh?
All you get is that he was a student of Loomis. That's it.
Let's talk about the fact that nobody in this fucking town, not police or citizen, can fire a gun properly.
Oh God, that's a whole another social commentary about the cops.
Yeah. Oh my. Well, the cops alone. I mean, the cops are, cops in movies are stupid. We have to.
That's the classic horror movie trope, all right.
Wasting all of her shots, shooting at literally nothing. It's not like she saw Michael and then he moved. No. She's literally shooting at nothing, at noises. And then when she finally has Michael right in front of her face and she says that great line, or at least a line that should have been great, this is for Dr. Loomis, no more bullets. And then no more than 30 fucking seconds later, here comes our black girl in her nurse's outfit holding what looks like a goddamn desert eagle. I mean, that gun is fucking gigantic, way too big for her. And she's literally firing at Michael from like 50 feet away. It's like, honey, unless you've got some kind of skills, how do you figure you're going to hit somebody from that far away? You've probably only fired a gun a handful of times in your life, and now you've got a moving target. And he doesn't even move very fast, mind you, as we all know.
And does she even know at that point that her boyfriend's dead in the back? Because otherwise, would she be afraid of accidentally hitting him?
Good point. Yeah, I didn't even think of that. I don't think she knew because she left. Like, she ran out of the car as soon as Michael went in to kill Marion. And then she comes back. I mean, I don't know if she had the gun when she left. I mean, she had the gun when they got in the car, so I have no idea why she left and came back. It actually doesn't make any sense now that I think about it. Yeah, you're right, Mike. That makes zero sense. Yay, more issues. And then, like I said, when people actually hit Michael with a bullet, they hit him in the chest or in the belly. Oh, you're going to kill the boogeyman by shooting him in the belly, you fucking moron. Yeah.
And, there's that one scene in 2018 where Laurie's like shooting and you see her, she just makes that one last shot and it hits the mannequin right in the fucking head. Boom.
That might be setting up our finale for Halloween.
Maybe that's a foreshadow right there.
Exactly. Oh, yeah. Jesus. 40 years and no one in this town has learned how to fire a fucking gun. That's upsetting to me.
Well, the other interesting thing to me when you bring up the town and the 40 years and all that, when we get the Tommy Doyle speech in the club or in the bar or whatever it was, like in the middle of the Halloween talent show. I love how he just wants to bring the house down with his story of murder, but when he's telling the story, I can't tell, like, okay, does the town not know about this or do they know? Because the way they're reacting is like they're hearing this for the first time, and I'm like, but I thought that this has haunted this town to where it seems like people would be more knowledgeable about it, but everyone was reacting like, oh. And then when he's like, is Michael real? Or is he not? It's like, what the fuck do you mean, is he real or not? Like, you literally were a part of the night of the murders.
I think it depends if you think about it. It's like 40 years is a long time. So, it affected the town, yes. How many people probably left that town because of that shit with their families? Like, all right, we're out. And then, all right, 10, 20 years, new families move in. Then it just becomes like lore and then even forgotten because we're so caught up in fucking cell phones and all the other bullshit. So I could understand it, but like you said, the movie's tonally uneven. Where in one respect they are, and one they're not.
Yeah.
Yes, Ben?
And there was that scene also that this kind of makes me question the intelligence of the residents of Haddonfield. When they're in the bar and they're watching the news report, they're talking to a local resident, an older blonde woman, and she actually looks in the camera and says, "I've lived in Haddonfield my entire life, and it's always been a safe place. Nothing like this has ever happened." And I'm like, wait a minute, bitch, were you not there in 78? I mean, she looks like she's over 40. She's got wrinkles. She's got that kind of dyed blonde hair color that some older women have. So it's like, was that supposed to be like a joke, like unintentional comedy for us? Or was that her legitimately being stupid or potentially lying to the newsman? I don't know. Like, I don't understand the motivation for putting that in there, is what I'm saying. It just adds to the stupidity of the citizens of Haddonfield.
Maybe it didn't happen on her side of Haddonfield.
Oh, so it happened on the bad part of town.
So maybe that's why.
God. What's sad is that's believable too. Ultimately, that's very believable. Oh man.
Yeah, but then how big of a town is this place if you have good and bad site parts
question.
of town?
What is the population of Haddonfield? I'm going to look that up right now. Go ahead, Don.
It looks like
the population is a handful of people less now, I guess.
It looks like it's kind of a big spot because that town map looked kind of wide when Laurie was showing it to his daughter. I mean, to his son and whatchamacallit's daughter in the car when he was tracking Michael.
Mm-hmm. I can't find any information on the actual population of the Haddonfield, Illinois in the movie, but the real Haddonfield, Illinois, yes, it is a real town, has a population of 11,300, which is pretty small, but not so small that everybody knows each other, 11,000 is still pretty big. So I guess that does kind of explain maybe how some people don't know the story of Michael Myers. Obviously, kids not knowing it makes total sense. Parents aren't going to tell kids the stories of all the local serial killers from their town. That's pointless. But to see actual adults that are like in their late 20s, early 30s not know about this, I have to assume that either they're transplants or they're idiots. You decide.
Well, the town might want to wash away of it. You know what I mean?
Oh, valid. No, very much like Nightmare on Elm Street. Just don't talk about it and everybody will forget. But it's like, this isn't a dream demon we're talking about. This is an actual serial killer who's staying at Smith's Grove Sanitarium, only, less than 30 miles from town. Yeah. I think they should know, I mean, prepare yourself at least. Know that it's a thing that existed is all I'm saying.
Yeah, and I can see how younger generations might not know all the details and they might have questions about it. But the way and that's been one of my problems with this is I feel like the movie, when they kind of announced that they were going to be retcon sequels where they're only taking the first into account. Well, I'm like, if you eliminate everything that happened after the original, then his reign of terror is much shorter, right? Oh, yeah. He murdered a few people one night, which is obviously still terrible. But is that something that the town's thinking about 40 years later, outside of the people that are directly related to the girls that died? But the way the movie is approaching the material, well, you sure as hell want to use the lore and mystique that's built up over 40 years about it, but that was only capable with all the freaking Halloween movies, as bad as some of them are, they still built up like generations of fans and stuff, being fans and getting into the whole shape and mystique. But to me, it changes it, because if we're dealing with a serial killer who one night randomly murdered 3 girls, as terrible and heinous as that is, that it doesn't seem as something as legendary status. Of course, I guess you can make the argument that, well, Haddonfield was a small, safe town before that happened, so it'll always be remembered. And yes, there is an element to that, but sure. I don't know. It just seems like they're trying to have it both ways.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Did anybody else want to kill every single child in this movie? Be it the 3 Mulaney's from '78 or the 3 little douchebags who played the prank on the gay couple. Why do they make every
not
child?
Mentioned Big and Little John yet? Oh my God!
Oh, we're gonna get to Big and Little John. I assure you.
We spent a lot of time with them, and I'm not sure why. Because in the end, they were nothing but their deaths and their characters were other than the fact that they happened to live at Michael's original
that's the whole point. It's Michael's house. Yeah.
Right, but it still could have, that whole thing could have played out without the 20 minutes of them getting high and eating some weed.
Yeah.
Honey.
Somebody, thank God, I had such extreme issues just waiting around for them. From the moment that they think they're being pranked to the moment that they finally die, it's 10-15 minutes?
Pretty close, yeah.
Yeah,
I could see
that should have been trimmed down. That should have been trimmed down completely.
I agree it could have been trimmed down. I do like those 2 actors, though. I don't know if you recognize them, but they're both alumni from Mad TV. So I found it kind of funny that 2 heterosexual actors who were both on Mad TV are now playing a gay couple, 20, 25 years after Mad TV goes off the air. I just found that entertaining. Plus, I was a Mad TV fan.
I didn't have an issue. Like, I actually thought the characters themselves, like, kind of cool, like fun,
Yeah.
I liked them.
And
they were silly.
I thought the reason why we were spending so much time with them is because one of them might end up surviving. Like the second, what's the one that didn't get killed first? Was that Big John or Little John? The one that
Big
said
John
Michael's
was little and Little John was big.
Yeah.
So their nicknames were opposite. So the short one was Big John.
Maybe one of them would survive into the next movie, and that's why it seems like they're given so much screen time. Because really, if when they meet their demise, I'm like, well, if that all this was leading to, couldn't it just happen like pretty much like without all the prank and all that other stuff going on? It just seemed like weird that they got that much screen time for what ultimately amounted to not much, because one dude's kill was completely off screen to begin with.
Does it make you think they were trying to force some more social commentary on you? Because they were showing plenty of outside shots of the house, plenty of time with them, right? You've seen the way they like interacted with the kids, scared them. Why? Why did they do all this?
Just to show that it was Michael's house.
I think we're digging a little deep on this, and I don't think it's that deep, honestly. I think
the movie is trying to push something deep. You know what I mean?
I don't think they are.
Why?
I think we're reading way too much into that particular.
Oh, you mean this specific scene at all? Yeah.
I like I said, we there's gay characters in every other movie that we watch. It doesn't necessarily mean that every time that there's a piece of media with a gay character in it, that it's going to be some kind of social commentary. It's just like Dwayne Jones in Night of the Living Dead. We've all heard the story. Him getting that role had nothing to do with him being black. It was just the best audition that George saw that day. So he got the role. How do we know that's not the same story here? Like, how do we know these 2 characters weren't actually written as gay? But then, after they hired the actors and saw their interactions together, and maybe they just decided, hey, fuck it. It might be fun if we make you guys gay. I don't know. Again, I'm speculating. But as far as the social commentary aspect, I mean, the only social commentary aspect you can take is Michael hates gay people.
Michael hates everybody.
I don't think it's that at all. If anything, I think it's just they're more comic relief and irony than, social commentary, right? Because Big John has the little knife, Little John has the big knife, right? The irony of this couple with their beautifully done outside, it's like powder blue, right? They got the beautiful, scarecrow and the decorations, juxtaposed to Michael Myers and the way the house used to be, right? Irony. That's beautiful irony, right?
I'm missing it completely. I don't know if I'm the only one, but I am completely missing the irony. Because Michael didn't give a rat's ass about how they decorated the house. It's not like he went through the house destroying stuff that he didn't like. He went straight up to his sister's room and stood there looking out the window just like he did.
It's not about what Michael thinks. It's about what it is. Like the fact that, just like remember in Resurrection, right? They took Michael Myers' house and made it into a fucking reality TV show. You know what I mean? Here, they're fucking making it into basically the opposite of Michael Myers, the opposite of evil, happiness, brightness. I mean, the word gay means happy, Like, it's irony right there.
Okay.
That's what it is.
We'll agree to disagree, I guess, because, I mean, obviously, like I said, you're an English professor. You probably read subtext a lot more than I do in films and television, so I'm not going to necessarily
visualize Michael Myers' house, right? Remember how Michael Myers' house was when he goes back to it in the shot in 78 that they recreated.
Right, because it was abandoned for 15 years.
Right. Okay, now, but that is the embodiment of Michael Myers, abandonment. That's a big part of Michael Myers, right? So look at the visual of that house, the baby blue house, where there's no abandonment in that house. There's love, there's happiness. The total opposite of what Michael Myers and his house represents.
I mean, I guess. Like I said, I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying I don't see it. I'm just saying I don't necessarily think that that's what the filmmakers were going for.
It's not about if they intended to do it. Like if somebody writes a poem or creates art, whether the intent is there or not, you could still.
So this is just your interpretation.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
I'm thinking that you're saying that this is subtext that has.
I'm just picking apart the movie, bro. I'm just fucking around with it,
Yeah, you're picking apart a slasher, though.
Well, that's the whole part. I mean, what the fuck are we why would we talk about it if we wouldn't, have these kinds of conversations, bro? We would just sit here and say, oh, that was a cool kill. Nah, bro.
Thus far, I don't hear anyone agreeing with you. So I don't know if everybody's just scared to say they agree or disagree. I am never scared to speak my mind. Like I said, I respect your opinion. I just don't see it. And again, that's just me. So.
You don't have to see it, but I could paint you a picture.
You kind of have to. Of course you have to see it.
Darkness and colors are total fucking... Darkness and color right there has been a whole history of contrast. So, I mean, there's no arguing that. So, yeah, I mean, it's just...
So you're saying they try to make something beautiful out of the ugliness of the house? Basically, the house's ugly history has now been beautified?
I'm talking about the imagery and what they're symbolically representing there, Right.
I mean, I guess again, talking about happiness and everything, but the very first,
the difference between the visuals that I'm explaining, I color and dark,
understand
right?
The visuals that you're explaining. Okay, I'm saying is I don't agree. That's all. I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm absolutely not.
It's on the screen. How could you disagree with darkness and colors? You know what I'm saying?
Because you keep talking about happiness, but ultimately, were they really that happy? The very first interaction they had was an argument when Little John told him to turn the music down, and then they disagreed on what they wanted to do that evening. I mean, I understand what you're going for. I really, really, really do. I'm just saying it's not nearly as obvious to everyone else as you think it is to you. And for whatever it's worth,
that's fine. That's why I'm bringing it onto the podcast, Jerry. That's what the whole point of this is, bro. I'm not trying to argue with you. I'm just giving you an introspective look at how I'm seeing things sometimes, bro. Right. It's not an argument. And you don't have to agree. You don't have to like it. But I'm just explaining it. You know what I'm saying?
And I'm not
I'm trying to explain it. That's all.
And you have fully explained it. I have heard every word you said. You are 100% valid. I'm not going to try to say you're wrong. All I'm saying is I am rebutting your statement. You got to make your statement. Now I get to make mine. I don't see what you are seeing there. I mean, obviously the house is going to look better. Someone lives in it. So what's the commentary there? I mean, this is all I'm saying. Like I said, we're having a little disagreement. No big deal. But I'm not saying you're wrong. I've already said that like 6 times. But the point is, I don't see it. And like I said, I haven't heard anybody else voice their opinion on this. So either they don't want to be a part of this conversation, or they don't want to disagree with you on tape. I don't know.
Officially, I never even put 1 second of thought into what Joey was saying.
Dude, you don't have to put thought into it. You don't have to agree with it. Again, I'm just stating things that I'm seeing, and you might not see it.
The point is
that's absolutely fine.
But the point is, my mind never even went there for a second. Like, I'm never even thinking
of... I'm not surprised about that one. That's for sure. Remember your initial thoughts? They were real short and sweet.
I know.
Mine were awesome.
Where I'm just saying my initial response to all of this is my mind never even went there for a second.
Yeah. Like I said, Joey, no one's disagreeing with you. We're just all saying that we didn't see it. We just didn't see that.
No,
I'm glad you brought it up.
Listen, I'm not saying that you had to see this or anything. I'm just throwing it out there.
I'm not putting words in your mouth, dude. Listen to the words coming out of my mouth. You are 100% valid in your opinion. You absolutely are. I respect that you brought that to the table. All I am saying is I didn't see it. That's it. It doesn't mean you're right and I'm wrong. It doesn't mean anybody's right or wrong here. It's just an opinion, brother.
Absolutely. That's what it all is, bro. That's what this is. We watch art, we talk about it, we pick it apart, we agree, we disagree, because
we usually watch art. Today we watched Halloween, so
Halloween Stalls would be a better movie.
Yeah. Halloween Stalls.
I mean, that's why I named the chat that, because that's how I felt about this movie. This movie is a placeholder. Like, there's no actual tension. There's no high stakes in this movie. Nothing. It's just a placeholder. It is a middle chapter to a larger story. And like I said, that's why I think they did a disservice by even announcing that it was going to be a third movie. They our
freaking conversation about Michael's house had more tension than this movie.
Yeah, that's fucking right.
I mean,
like I said about this movie, it's the Empire Strikes Back of horror movies.
Oh shit, Willis is still here.
No, Empire Strikes Back actually has consequential stuff.
Yeah,
though,
Empire Strikes Back actually has a beginning, middle, and end. Actually, think about it, folks. Think about all the great trilogies that we've seen. Indiana Jones, George Romero's original zombie trilogy, Star Wars, whatever great trilogy you want to go with. And then think about the middle chapters. They are still complete stories. They still have a beginning, a middle, and an end. What is the beginning, what is the middle, and what is the end of this movie? There is none. The movie just picks up where the first one left, and then this movie doesn't really end. It just stops. And I've brought this up before on Fresh Cuts that I fucking hate when movies do this. They don't really end. They just stop. Like there was more coming. And like I said, this is why announcing that there was going to be a trilogy, I feel, is a mistake, because all through the movie, there's no tension. There's no high stakes. Like I said earlier, yes, some characters are going to die. Okay, we expect that. And guess what? The characters that we expected to die died in this installment. What I'm saying is that by them announcing that third chapter, I felt no suspense. I felt no nothing. Like even though we did lose a couple of main characters, I still even felt nothing about those, because ultimately this is Michael, this is Laurie. That's all we care about. And obviously this movie is just kind of leading us along the path to that final confrontation that we hope we'll get next year. So this,
well, and like I think I was going to say, I think that's the great conflict in how you frame a story with this, with the narrative going back and forth on whether Laurie even matters to begin with. Because for everything we've learned about this new trilogy so far, Laurie could, I guess it's not her daughter anymore. Judy Greer's well, if we assume Judy Greer is dead, she'd be missing. But at the end of the first movie, Laurie pretty much could have packed up her daughter and granddaughter, got the hell out of Haddonfield, and it wouldn't affect any damn thing going on in the rest of the trilogy, because we've just been told that there really is no connection between them, and it doesn't matter if Laurie has a showdown with Michael or not, which is okay. But then the problem is you basically sold the franchise on, Jamie Lee Curtis is back to play Laurie Strode. So it's like you have like a counterpoint going there. We're like, well, why is she back then? Because it really doesn't matter. I mean, obviously we know why, because it's a big draw to have her back in a Halloween movie, because that's the showdown people want. But
that just
you spend two movies saying it doesn't matter.
Well, that just further fuels my statement that they have to be brother and sister for the franchise to work.
Nah.
Well, because after her monologue towards the end, didn't she also say, like, I have to be the one to kill him? Did she say that? Or
well, she said, actually, I like the line that she used. She said, I need to be the one to kill it. She didn't say him. She said it. I love that tiny little thing right there. She finally accepts that fucker is not human. He is a monster. He's an animal, whatever you want to call him, but he's not a person. He's not a he anymore. And what a great little bit of social commentary for pronouns in 2021 as well. So I love that. And she said, I need to kill it. I was like, oh.
He/she/it/.
There you go.
Supernatural-ish. Yeah, I just don't know. Like, I feel like they spent like a movie and a half telling us the relevance isn't there, and now they're trying to swing the pendulum back. Oh wait, no, it is there, because why did we get that exposition by her and then her saying I have to be the one to kill it? Like, wait a minute, no, I thought you didn't have to be the one to kill it. But
especially since they dropped the line that they said it was the doctor that led Michael to Laurie's house, which they did in part in the movie.
It was the daughter.
That's what I was about to ask. Like, Michael killed Sartan when they were well outside of Laurie's compound. So it's not, I mean, unless there was a folder in there with Laurie's home address, but again, why would Sartan know that? He didn't even, I mean, he was shocked when he met her. Remember in the last movie, he was like, oh, you're Laurie Strode. So
you can Google somebody's address on your phone now. That was 2018. So
that's assuming it is public information. You can't look up any address. I mean, there's still privacy laws. That's called doxing. So you can't really dox
Sartain. Yeah, Sartain's really the one that orchestrated. He wanted to get Michael and Laurie back in, the same space, because he wanted to see if it would trigger something in him. But after Michael's free and the doctor's dead and all that, Michael pretty much is just kind of out there randomly just killing the people he comes across when he feels like it. I never got the feeling in 2018 that he was like looking around for Laurie Strode until they come to face. Then maybe him seeing her trigger something, like maybe he remembers her at that point, but it didn't feel like he was like actively looking for her. And I feel like that narrative continued in this movie until the end, when it feels like now they're trying to swing it back to where like she does play some big. I mean, I understand her motivation. Okay, I guess here's where we will have to wait to see what they do, because maybe she's just saying this because it's all surface level. She just wants to be the one to kill him, because now her daughter's been murdered. Her friends were murdered back in 1978. So maybe she's just saying it as in like, he's caused me so much trauma, I want to be the one to kill him. That's different from like some actual connection that we're going to find out where she has to be the one, right? So it feels like a delicate balance that they're trying to pull with this new trilogy about what exactly her importance is, other than fan service of Laurie Strode's back. And that's what I've always been kind of confused so far through these two movies about, other than the fan service aspect of her being back and getting everyone excited for it. Like, well, what is the importance of her character in terms of Michael's like death ultimately,
Keeping them apart in this movie, it's like, it's like keeping the wrestlers apart until the next pay-per-view,
Yeah.
That's how they used to do it on wrestling, but not in Vince McMahon's world anymore. They be having the same rematches with people like every other week now. So that's why I don't even
Every
watch
pay-per-view
them
main
no
event, they have a
more.
rematch on Raw.
Oh shit!
Nice.
It's been got so terrible now on WWE. I don't even watch the main shows. I just watch the pay-per-view. I watch AEW every week. At least they had different matches every week.
Yeah.
Is Michael Myers going to show up in AEW?
Well, Chucky is going to be on the Halloween Havoc next week for NXT.
No.
Yep.
Oh, really?
Oh, because he's on USA now, right?
Yep. They just announced it.
Chucky was in WCW for like a little bit way back in the 90s. I think to promote Bride of Chucky.
Yep.
I remember that. That was back when I still watched it.
They used to have horror guys in like Japan and fucking there's this other one. It's like Horror Slam or something. They have like guys coming out. Yeah. I think it's time. I think we're at that point.
I mean,
yeah, that we're talking about wrestling.
All it's really left to talk about is Easter eggs, if anybody even cares. I mean, we've already talked about a bunch, but and a lot of them are obvious. Obviously, you know, seeing the masks from Halloween 3, seeing Dr. Loomis again, Nick Castle playing the Shape in the 1978 scenes was great. This also has the highest. This movie now has the record for the highest kill count of a Halloween movie. It passed out 20 from Rob Zombie's Halloween, was the record holder with 20 kills. This movie has, as far as on-screen kills, 28. So this is now the most violent Michael Myers we've ever gotten, or at least the most prolific, if you will.
Oh, for sure.
Isn't he almost about to beat Jason Voorhees in the most kills?
I think he did. I didn't actually look that up, but I don't think he needed more than 30 to pass Jason, and he got 28 in this movie. So I'll look it up later, but I'm pretty sure Michael is now the cinematic kill king. But hopefully with the Friday the 13th lawsuit settled, you know, who knows, fingers crossed, we'll get that, we'll get that second chapter of survivalist Jason living underground.
No.
What else we got for Easter eggs? What do I have written down here?
The Silver Shamrock masks are back.
The picture of Bob Odenkirk.
Yes, Bob Odenkirk. I was just getting to that. During the bar scene, when all the residents are, kind of getting together and celebrating the evening, during the news report, when they're talking about Michael Myers, the only victim, they show two of the victims' pictures. They show PJ Souls, of course, but then they show a picture of Bob, the guy who was in the ghost sheet with the glasses, who got, nailed up to the wall. Apparently, they did try to find an old file photo of that particular actor, but they were not able to find one. Wow. So literally, they decided, hey, you ever see Bob Odenkirk when he was a kid, when he was like in college? And they they found one of his pictures, and he looks, he doesn't quite look exactly like Bob from 78, but it's a pretty damn good likeness when you look at him side by side. So yeah, that picture on the news report is actually Bob Odenkirk. Better Call Saul makes an appearance in Haddonfield.
Now, in the next one, are we actually going to get Ben Tramer, not just a mention?
That might be fun. That's right, since he's technically not dead in this timeline. Who knows?
Yeah, I remember someone asked the director. You remember a couple weeks ago on the Joe Bob Halloween special, they had David Gordon Green, and one of the listener questions was like, "Are we going to find out what happened to Ben Tramer?" And he's like, "Oh, you're just going to have to watch." And of course, and it's like all that ended up happening was he got mentioned.
Right.
Exactly. That was silly. Oh man, Laurie yelling "Let it burn" at the beginning of the movie, which I did enjoy. I thought that was a good line delivery. You believed Laurie's kind of psychosis and anxiety at that point. That's actually a reference to a deleted scene from Halloween 2. Apparently, originally in the original Halloween 2, Loomis was not going to burn with Michael in the hospital in the operating room. They actually have a deleted scene where he's outside of the hospital, and as the fire trucks are coming to put out the fire, he yells the exact same thing: "Let it burn, don't stop it." So, little homage to a deleted scene right there. There are, if you're looking very closely, there are mentions of vaccines in the hospital. One sign in particular, when Laurie's walking out of the hospital, says "Vaccinate before it's too late." So obviously we've got some early references to COVID. Obviously this movie taking place in 2018 is, before anybody knew anything about it. But obviously with the next movie taking place in modern day, and a few of us already mentioning that is going to be a factor in the movie, and that they're going to be talking about politics, from 2019 and beyond. So that was just kind of cool to see those signs in the hospital. I think you would see those in any hospital anyway, but still kind of cool to see, considering what we've been going through, for the last year and a half in this country and all over the world, really. With this appearance, Jamie Lee Curtis now overtakes Donald Pleasance for having the most franchise appearances in Halloween. She now, with this appearance, she now has 6 appearances under her belt, which passes Donald Pleasance's 5. So Laurie is now literally, if figuratively, if not literally, one of the most important characters in this franchise. I've got some stuff here that's referencing the Thorn trilogy, but you know what? I hate the Thorn trilogy so much, I'm just going to skip all this.
No, don't.
I know you guys love the Thorn trilogy. Well,
I hate that mess.
Yeah,
I love it.
Don't include me in that.
Let's see. Paul Rudd was considered to be Tommy Doyle in this movie, but the filmmakers decided that since Paul Rudd is such a big star now, that he would be a distraction. So they went and got an 80s star, who's probably less of a distraction in 2021, at least. Anthony Michael Hall, of course, playing Tommy Doyle in this movie. Let's see. There is, we talked about Laurie's final speech in the movie, and Mike, of course, making fun of the line, "The more he kills, the more he transcends." Let's see, if it does. Some people are theorizing that this might be going towards a Cult of Thorn ending anyway. I can't imagine that David Gordon Green is going in that direction, but a lot of people online are kind of speculating that because of that line, "the more he kills, the more he transcends," that potentially they're going back to the Cult of Thorn. So fingers crossed that that's not where we're going. But like I said, I know some people like the Cult of Thorn stuff, and I appreciate that. I respect that. Just for me and most people that I talk to, that stuff didn't really work out. It's not the worst thing I've ever seen by any stretch, mind you. I just, I don't know. I didn't feel like it really worked in the Halloween franchise. It might have worked in another one, but like I said, it works for some people. So bravo. And
maybe Sartain is part of this cult. You never know.
Ooh, there we go.
There you go.
I'd be okay with that.
If they do that, I'm gonna throw something at the damn TV screen. I'm gonna throw popcorn at the damn screen if that shit happen.
Hopefully the next one won't be a simultaneous home release too. Hopefully we're out of this pandemic shit. And
I don't mind it watching it at home. It saved me $20. Shit.
Yeah. See, I'm okay spending the $20. Not that I have to. I have all the monthly rewards programs for every major theater in LA. So I don't remember the last time I paid to go see a movie. Still got to pay for my snacks and everything, and sometimes parking if I go to Hollywood. Yes, paying fucking parking to go see a movie. That's ridiculous. But anyway, just to kind of rebut what Willis said there. Yeah, I will always be a theater guy, even if they like all these movies that they've done simultaneous releases for. I've gone to see them at the theater. Godzilla, Kong, Mortal Kombat, blah blah blah. Dune is coming next week. If I see that, it's going to be in a theater, because there's no way I'm going to be able to pay attention for 3+ hours at home with all the different enjoyable things that I have in my house. So blah, blah, blah. But, We'll see. I understand that a lot of people still like watching movies from home, especially new movies that they don't have to go to the theater. I appreciate that. I just hope the theaters don't go away. I never, ever want that theater experience to go away. Until I can build a 3-foot screen or like a 6-foot screen in my house with like recliners and everything else, nothing will ever replace the theatrical experience. So, yeah, I'm in the theater regardless.
Yeah, same. I mean, there's probably going to be instances where I have to catch stuff at home. Just, being a parent with kids, I can't always get out. But if it's up to me, my preference is watch it in the theater. And I know there's always things at the theater that can be annoying, but I've had pretty good luck, probably because of when I usually see movies at. So
you go in the morning too?
Yep,
That's when I
try to go like the very first showing in the morning, because it doesn't even matter how popular or big the movie is. The showings I go to, there's usually not that many people. So I just like the theater experience. I think it's the best way to immerse yourself and shut out the outside world completely.
Plus, they got that fancy soda machine with like hundreds of options. I need my fancy soda. I need my grape Sprite with a splash of raspberry. Try it.
I don't get addicted to going to the 4DX movie.
I wish more movies would open in 4DX. I think the last one I saw was that last Terminator movie, that whatever the hell that was, which I actually mildly enjoyed more than most people. But yeah, man, we don't get enough 4DX releases out here.
I saw this one in RPX, which is like Regal's upgraded. Like the screen is curved and like the sound is like even. I don't know if they put actual like triggers in the seats, or it's just that the bass hits so, like the low tones of the bass hit so well that it makes your seats feel like they're rumbling. But I could actually tell a difference. And the funny story is, like, so I usually just get like the standard theater ticket, and for some reason on that opening Thursday, when it just had the 2 showings, whoever loaded like the show times into the Regal app accidentally listed it as a 3D movie. And if you go to a 3D movie, there's like the $4 surcharge, even if you have unlimited. So I was just gonna not go that night. And not the $4 is, it's not going to put me out of house and home for $4. It was more just me being a stubborn principal. Like, I'm not paying extra when it's a standard showing. Yep. But then RPX was only a $2 surcharge, and that's just normal for RPX anyway. So I was like, well, if I got to choose between a $4 upgrade where I'm not really upgrading because it's not a 3D movie, or RPX, I'll just do the $2. And man, I was actually pretty impressed. Like, the seats were leather. Like, it was like a whole. I didn't realize like it was upgraded that much. I just thought, the sound might be more crisp, but no, it was actually a good presentation, and I was actually kind of glad for paying the $2 extra for it.
And the moral of that story is Mike is a cheap ass.
Pretty much, yeah.
I'll send you $2 next time.
Well, the thing is, most of the horror movies don't go to RPX. I think it's just because Halloween is a big franchise, so that they put it on 4 screens. But usually, the stuff I see, standard version is the only thing that's going to be available, period.
Mm-hmm. All right, what do you say we wrap up?
$1 million to go to the fucking movies in New York City, bro. It's not even funny. A matinee, I looked for the matinee for Halloween, and the matinee cost $17.10.
Woo!
Damn.
That's why I got rewards programs. They are so worth it.
Yeah.
Yeah, Regal Unlimited is $20 a month for anything, anytime.
Mine doesn't actually have a surcharge. For AMC, I can see 3D Prime, Dolby Prime, whatever. No surcharge.
Yeah, there is. So with the Regal one, there's like 3 tiers. I do the middle tier because the middle tier, I think, means you can go to multiple Regals instead of like just your local one. Maybe the upper tier, which is like, I think instead of 20, like it's like 25. Maybe that one allows for like 3D and stuff without. But I just see so few 3D movies and stuff. I just figure, why pay the extra? But maybe one day I would upgrade to it. But anyways, yeah, I think we're at a good spot to end.
I was just about to say, this concludes our our discussion on theater cuts. Join us next week for Fresh Cuts, the movies that actually play at the theaters.
Yeah. All right. So before we get out of here, let's find out where everyone else can be heard and what's new. Venom, you like usual. I'll start with you.
I'm not going over everything. No More Room in Hell, main show. Fresh Cuts, Creature Comforts, In the Mic of Madness, Underwater Kaiju from Outer Space, It's Not Horror Okay. Those are my main shows. I have guest spots currently on Cut to the Chase, the podcast Under the Stairs, the Dark Parade, the Joe Blow Horror Show, and then another one on Cut to the Chase. So there you go. There's the short version.
All right. Don, what about you?
Well, keeping with the theme of going short, Fresh Cuts, No More Room in Hell presents Creature Comforts, Underwater Kaiju from Outer Space, and guest appearances on Phantom Galaxy, Cut to the Chase, and Indie Horror Cafe's 31 Days of Indie Horror.
Cool. Willis, where can people hear you?
NFW podcast. It's not. Sometimes I'll be on. It's Not Horror Okay, once in the blue moon.
Yep.
And my YouTube page, Wildman Willis Reviews. I'm finally up to 300 subscribers.
Woo!
Nice.
Woo.
Good job, Willis.
Wow, man.
All right, Joey. I know it's been a while for you. Hopefully this is
I don't even
not-
know if my voice exists out there anymore on those shows. Don, is Horror Mafia still up?
No, because remember, Laurie took it down because he took the site down.
Yeah. So there's a Slice and Dice YouTube channel where you could check out old episodes of that. I don't know what the hell. This might be some Club Drugcast out on Dark Discussions. I have no fucking clue. But like the rhymes of the Wu-Tang Clan, I'm going to come back with my boy J Mac and Atomically Bomb Topics with his cousin Anthony Tony Tone. And we're going to tackle shit on our new show, Bomb Atomically Podcast. Yes, coming out real soon. Along with a website where we're going to have some written content. We're going to have some little short things and then the main show. And, we're going to... You'll find us on all the major podcasting apps. We're going to go through Podbean, and we'll be chatting about movies, television, and other facets such as, music, literature, and dissecting and bombing art like Socrates' philosophies, I'll go off the rails. J-Mac will bring me back down. I'll start talking about powder blue houses and Michael Myers' cock. It'll be nuts.
And you have an ETA on your first episode, or is it still in development stages, or what?
We're developing the website. We kind of want to make sure the website comes out with the podcast, but I'll give you a sneak peek to our first episode. Fuck it, why not? We're gonna take a trip back to memory lane with the classic Twilight Zone episode, The Obsolete Man, and we're pairing that up with the contemporary Black Mirror episode, Nosedive. So there's got some similarities and differences. So we're pairing those two together, and we're going to go balls deep for our first episode.
Nice. Can't wait for that. Yeah, good that you're getting the game. And then, of course, always both you and Willis, welcome back anytime. Nice with it's funny because Fresh Cuts, normal cast is all West Coast, but anytime the East Coasters can make it work with their different time zone, and welcome back anytime, guys.
Always a pleasure, gentlemen.
Always fun.
As far as myself, I think most guest appearances I listed off last time. I think the only thing since that's new is I recorded with Friday Night Nightmares, and we did a top 5 movies to actually watch on the holiday of Halloween. So I believe that episode is for their Patreon. So anyone listening here, check that out. But otherwise, just normal shows for me. And I think that's it. So, man, Halloween Kills. Nice discussion on that. Probably our longest episode in a while. Not our longest ever, I don't think, but we had a good hearty discussion on everything Halloween Kills. And what's is Soho next week?
It was supposed, yeah, that's what's weird. Last Night in Soho was supposed to open this coming Friday, but as I look at all my websites, they're all saying October 29th now, which means we're going to have 2 genre releases October 29th with Last Night in Soho and Antlers. So I'm not sure what we're doing next week now.
Yeah, that's weird because
I mean, we didn't.
Yeah,
I know we skipped Lamb because we weren't 100% sure that was going to be a horror film, but I know you and I have both seen it. I'm sure there's lots on VOD.
I can confirm because I just looked at my Regal app, and Soho and Antlers are now both saying in 11 days. I don't know why they did this.
Why would you give us 2 big genre releases the weekend of Halloween? That's fucked up. Apparently, they think we have endless money. Well,
you do.
Well, hey, shut up! Don't tell people.
All right. Well, yeah, we'll figure something out for next week, and then we'll figure out how we want to work out the 2 release week.
Maybe we'll take next week off and just do like a double the following week since we got 2 theatrical releases. I'm down to do that.
Yeah, could be. Or if we can get a hold of like one of the movies early and like somehow record before.
Fancy.
Well, I don't know. We'll figure it out. Yeah. But yeah.
You got to contact everybody's favorite uncle, Uncle Moody.
Oh man. All right. Well, with that said, we're gonna get out of here. Thanks everybody for listening to another episode of Fresh Cuts. We'll catch you, well, maybe in a week's time or maybe 2 weeks' time, just depending on how we figure this out. Everyone say peace to the listeners.
Peace to the listeners.
Hail
Evil must die. Evil must die.
Did evil die tonight on Skype?
Later.
Adios, folks.